So tell us how your love for cinema started, and wanting to actually make your own movies.
Well, when I was 12, 12, I think I was 12. We had a Super 8 camera, and we wanted to make a movie, and I wanted to direct it, of course. And so I decided to do a cowboy movie. So we set up a bar, and we couldn't drink beer, so we drank milk. We had the characters drink milk, and it was basically a fight over spilt milk in a bar. And somehow my cousin Kirk and my brother Saul were involved, the guy you just saw, and they got in a fight. And then there was a damsel in distress, and she was my cousin Kelly, and we didn't have a railroad track, so we tied her to a ladder, and just didn't show the rest of the ladder, and just tied her to the ladder like she was on the railroad tracks. And then we did titles, and we didn't have any way to edit it. So we did the titles in the camera. So I planned the whole thing out and then wrote the titles down, and then we did the movie. And I think it's around somewhere. But once I had done that, I was like, this is killer. This is really fun. And so telling stories has always been a key part of my life. And making movies to me is just like being able to, it's being able to create with a family of people, which family is important to me, whether it's whatever kind of family it is, real family or extended family. Just the community of people is important to me. And so being able to tell stories with them and for them and for me is, I think, key to my development as an artist, because I think film and video and any way that you can reach somebody, and for Christ's sake, if you can get somebody in this fast-paced world where everybody's like 3.5 minutes and out for music videos or whatever, if you can get somebody to sit down for an hour and a half and look at and listen to a story, then it's like the old days in the campfire, when people told stories around the campfire and everything was carried on orally. And it's like you're doing it. It's part of the tradition, and that's what making movies is about. It's about bringing people close together around that campfire. And nowadays that big screen is the campfire.
Yeah, I think you're hitting it right on the head. You said about there was something about stories. I know you're a scriptwriter as well.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I wrote A Venice Tale. I also wrote one. I've written a sort of a thriller kind of genre movie called NekroBeach, a story about dead bodies popping up on the beach, that has to do with surfing. And it's like, it's a really funny. It's actually not a bad script, even though I don't like watching movies like that very much. And then I'm working on another one right now. I'm working on two of them. One is the first draft is done. That's called The Diplomat, and that's based on a family history from about 1909 till about 1989, and it's based on stories that I was told about my family's escape from Estonia during the Second World War, and my uncle being in the Gulag, and my grandfather helping start the state of Estonia when it became a democracy, and all kinds of stuff. And it has to do with, it's got spy stuff in it, it's got war stuff in it, and it's an exciting one. And then I'm working on another one called Blue Duck, and that is the name of, there was an outlaw, a female outlaw, who a lot of people know about, called oh God, I can't even believe I don't remember her name, but her name's going to come to me. But she's a world famous like cowboy outlaw, right? And she hung out in Cherokee territory inside of Oklahoma, and when she was on the run, she used to harbor the James Gang. Anybody who knows cowboy history is going to know who she is. Anyway, she met this guy, and he was an Indian, and he was a dentist, and he lived on the res, in Cherokee Nation land before it became the reservation, and she met him and fell in love with him. And he was an Indian dentist, and he immediately quit being a dentist and became a criminal like her. And his name was Blue Duck. So I thought, hey, that'd be a cool story about this Indian guy who was a dentist for 10 years, and then all of a sudden he decides to become a criminal because he meets this cool outlaw chick. So
Yeah, that is kind of exciting. It seems like a great story.
yeah, it's cool. That's cool.
And you got the script for it, or is it in treatment right now?
The script is in development. Basically, I have done all my research. I've got gobs and piles of research, and it's a project that was initiated by my former writing partner. She's passed away now. Her name is Esther Mitgang, super great lady. Published many books, thousands of books. She did Chuck Berry's autobiography. She did U2's Travelin' Hum. Did a bunch of books. Her father won a Pulitzer for his portrayal of Lincoln. But anyway, she was my writing partner, and she initiated the idea in me, sparked the idea in me, and so that's going to be the project I'm going to do after The Diplomat. After A Venice Tale, after The Diplomat, I'm going to do that one. Because I think, do like a chase thriller set in Venice Beach, then you do like a war epic set in Eastern Europe, then you got to come back and do a Western. Because Westerns have always been killed. I've always loved Westerns. John Ford is one of my favorite directors, so,
So when you write a script or you have a story in mind, do you have a particular actor or just maybe a particular persona that you think, this person's perfect for Blue Duck?
Yeah, constantly. You're always thinking that. Like you're always imagining, God, wouldn't it be great if such and so played this part? Because a lot of times, you look for personalities as you're writing, and the personality comes to you because you'll be like in the process of writing a script, and you'll be watching a movie or something, and you'll be like, oh my God, that person would be perfect. She's got to play that. And then you look at somebody who might be involved in the project, and you're like, don't you think so? And they're like, yeah. Casting, to me, is the most crucial part of telling a great story in film.
That's interesting. Ask you a question. Have you ever seen an actor or actress and thought, okay, they're completely wrong for the role, but they have the ability to pull something out of them and create? Have you ever thought that way?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, a good actress or actor doesn't have to be like the character. All there has to be is some element of that person's real personality, their actual personality, in the character. And it can be a sliver of their personality. But there always has to be something personal that the actor owns to bring to the project, because otherwise you'll know that it's just an act. It can't be a put on. It has to be something that they gather to them and give.
Method acting, basically. They'll be able to invest something.
In a way, method acting, yes. And it doesn't matter to me how you act, what elements you use. I mean, there are actors, like, for example, the young girl who just played the young girl in True Grit, right? She's from Thousand Oaks. She's 14 years old. Never acted before. Took some acting classes. But she's playing somebody completely out of her character. She's playing someone who's going out with a bunch of rough guys to try to avenge the death of her father, and she wants to kill this guy. She wants him dead. Now, I mean, that's completely out of the experience of a 14-year-old girl from Thousand Oaks. But how many 14-year-old girls do you know that want to kill something? They'll get mad enough. So, to me, it's interesting when you think about. And Matt Damon and all the actors in that movie were like blown away. They were like, how the hell did she do that? They were stunned that she could do that. That to me is a perfect example of how an actor can bring their own self to the project but do something completely out of their element. And I think it's important when you consider actors when you're doing your casting. I think it's super important to make sure that's your reason for doing it, as opposed to if you're attracted to that person. I've seen movies in movies that I've produced, where an actor was cast against my wishes because they were attracted to them. The director was attracted to them, and that person turned out to be wrong. There's been other examples where I've personally cast actors, like in my movie NekroBeach that didn't get finished, the one I told you about. The actor I cast for the lead, I just loved the guy. Fell in love with him the first day I met him. We had a lot in common. I didn't know that, unfortunately, he was going to have some personal issues that I won't go into now, but that stopped us from making the movie. And I love him dearly to this day, but his personal problems cost the movie and cost everybody who put their work into it the movie and all that time. And that work is not going to be seen because of that person's, because of what they went through. And those things happen in life. You have to be forgiving, and you have to understand these things happen. But it was my choice to cast the guy. It wasn't his choice to be cast. It was my choice to cast him. And so that decision has weighed on me heavily. And that was my first major foray into feature filmmaking. And it's taught me a lot. And I think I've learned from it.